Hi, Odyssey Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain an adventure drama movie named Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. A teenager named Jake Portman thinks his life is boring in Florida. One day, he gets a call at work about his grandfather, Abe. When Jake talks to Abe, the old man seems scared and worried. Jake's supervisor, Shelley, helps him get to Abe's house by giving him a ride. Jake and Shelley arrive at Abe's house and notice a creepy man with white eyes blocking the road. When Jake goes inside, he discovers the house is a mess. In the woods, he finds Abe's flashlight covered in blood, and Abe is on the ground without his eyes. Abe manages to warn Jake about something terrible before passing away. Suddenly, a scary creature approaches Jake. Shelley comes out with her gun, and Jake tells her about the creature behind her. She starts shooting, but she can't see anything. After his grandfather's death, Jake goes to see his psychologist, Dr. Golan, to discuss his feelings. Jake is convinced that Abe's death wasn't an accident, even though the coroner said it was due to a heart attack. We get a glimpse of Jake's childhood in a flashback, where his grandfather Abe used to share exciting stories with him. These stories included encounters with monsters and strange things. Abe would talk about a special home for kids managed by a mysterious Englishwoman named Miss Peregrine. The kids in the home had unique abilities, and Miss Peregrine took care of them. Jake's aunt gives him a book from his grandfather, Abe, by Ralph Waldo Emerson. Inside, there's a postcard from Miss Peregrine inviting him to come back. Her home is on an island called Cairnholm in Wales. With support from Dr. Golan, Jake talks his parents into letting him go and visit Miss Peregrine. Jake travels with his dad, Franklin, who didn't get along well with Jake's grandfather, Abe. On the ferry to the island, they see a peregrine falcon, and Jake jokes that it might be Miss Peregrine. When they arrive, they stay at an old pub, and Franklin hires two local boys to help Jake explore the island. To Jake's dismay, he discovers that the home he wanted to visit has been ruined. Disappointed, he comes back to the pub, thinking Miss Peregrine and the kids are gone. The next day, Jake returns to the ruined home and discovers a group of children there. Feeling scared, he runs away and accidentally knocks himself out. When he wakes up, a strong little girl named Bronwyn is carrying him. Jake meets the children Abe told him about: Emma, who controls air and wears lead shoes; Olive, who can control fire; Millard, who's invisible; and two masked twins. The children lead Jake through a cave, but he gets frightened and runs off. Jake goes back to the pub, and it's now crowded. The manager won't let him upstairs, and others accuse him of being a spy, leading to threats. The peculiar children show up and help Jake leave. He realizes he's currently stuck in the 1943 loop. Jake is introduced to Miss Peregrine, who then presents the remaining children: Fiona, who can control plants; Claire, with a mouth at the back of her head; Horace, having prophetic dreams; Hugh, with bees inside him; and Enoch, who can briefly bring the dead back to life. Enoch demonstrates his power using small skeletal puppets. Enoch is envious because he likes Emma, and he knows Jake does too. However, Emma had feelings for Abe, who left a long time ago. Miss Peregrine tells Jake that they live in a time loop, which keeps them safe but isolated from the outside world. They're stuck on September 3, 1943, just before a bomb would hit the house during World War II. Miss Peregrine resets the clock to 24 hours earlier to avoid the danger. If they leave the loop, their age catches up, and they will die. Jake has dinner with Miss Peregrine and the children. Later, they enjoy watching Horace's dreams like movies, seeing scenes of a woman in trouble and Jake and Emma seemingly about to kiss. After the show, Miss Peregrine takes them outside and demonstrates the loop when German planes drop a bomb. She resets the clock, bringing them back to September 2nd. Jake follows Emma into a cave, curious about everything he's learned. When he asks questions, Emma says there are some things she can't answer. Suddenly, a bird flies into the cave and hits the wall. Emma takes it back to the home to get it treated. When Jake goes back to his dad, they're summoned by a farmer whose sheep were killed. They head back to the pub, and Jake discovers a letter from Abe to Miss Peregrine. The letter warns about a person named Mr. Barron and urges Miss Avocet, another headmistress, to create a new loop right away. The next morning, Jake and Franklin go to the beach and meet an ornithologist who is searching for rare birds for a book he wants to write. Later, Jake sneaks out while his dad takes a nap to go back to the home. Miss Peregrine is caring for the bird, who turns out to be Miss Avocet, the woman from Horace's dream, and also an Imbran like Miss Peregrine, meaning they can turn into birds. Jake asks Miss Peregrine about Baron, but she avoids giving direct answers. Jake meets Enoch and Olive, and Enoch takes him to Victor's room. Victor, Bronwyn's brother killed by the same creature that got Abe, has missing eyes. Enoch uses his power to make Victor move like a puppet to surprise Jake. Emma takes Jake to her secret hideout in a sunken ship beneath the ocean. She creates an air bubble for him and clears the water from the ship. Emma shows Jake pictures of people with pale eyes, including Baron, who Jake recognizes as the man near Abe's house the night he died. Later, they observe Miss Peregrine with her crossbow near a chalk outline of a creature. A tall, eyeless monster like the one in the woods appears, visible only to Jake. Miss Peregrine shoots it, and it falls perfectly into the chalk outline. Emma realizes that Jake's peculiar ability is seeing these monsters. Back at the home, Emma gives Miss Peregrine her book to help Jake understand the creatures. Baron and his group are hologhasts, a different kind of peculiar who hunt the good ones to stay outside the loops forever. Baron experimented on Miss Avocet using her Imbran powers, but it went wrong, transforming him and the others into monstrous creatures. They could revert to human form by consuming the eyes of peculiars. Miss Peregrine enters a room where the children are with Miss Avocet, now in her human form. Worried about Baron targeting the children, she decides it's time to leave and find a new home in Loop. Jake comes back to the beach, finding Franklin very worried. They discover the wheelchair-bound man they met earlier dead by the rocks, eyes missing. Jake runs away, and the ornithologist follows him into the cave. The ornithologist transforms into Dr. Golan, but then reveals he's actually Baron. With a blade-like hand, Baron threatens Jake to make him do what he wants. Baron compels Jake to lead him to the home. Miss Peregrine discovers them and instructs the children to retreat for safety. She knows Baron is waiting for his hollow companion to target them, and with Jake being able to see them, he becomes their only hope. Miss Peregrine asks Jake to promise he'll take care of the children if anything happens to her. He agrees, and she transforms into her bird form so Baron can capture her. Jake and Miss Avocet help the children stay hidden in the dark when the hollow arrives. During this time, Jake answers the phone and hears a call from Abe in 1943. Jake takes a moment to express his regret, wishing he could have been a better grandson. Miss Avocet instructs the children on what to do, but the hollow pulls her through a wall. Jake leads the children to safety and tries to fight the hollow with Miss Peregrine's crossbow, but he misses every shot. Eventually, a German plane drops a bomb on the house, killing the hollow. The loop then closes permanently, and the children can never go back to that home. The children collaborate to bring Emma's sunken ship to the surface, planning to reach the Blackpool Tower where there's another loop. Jake and Emma figure out that by stopping Baron there in January 2016, they might prevent Abe's death. They reach the pier and enter a haunted house, where the Hollows plan to conduct an experiment with Miss Peregrine and other Imbrans. Jake and Emma lure some Hollows outside toward the pier. When the Hollows reach the pier, the children fight back. They throw snowballs and cotton candy at the Hollows to make them visible. Enoch animates some skeletons to attack the Hollows, and they start defeating them. Bronwyn grabs a horse from the merry-go-round and throws it at a Hollow, sending them into the water. The other children battle Baron and his two Hollow friends in their hideout. The male Hollow tries to freeze Bronwyn underwater, but Fiona stops him by throwing seeds that grow into vines. Olive frees Bronwyn, but the Hollow begins freezing Olive. Enoch animates an elephant puppet to crush the Hollow. The female Hollow is turned to stone when the twins remove their masks and stare at her. Enoch apologizes to Olive for not showing enough concern, thinking she's gone, but she is revived, and Olive is happy to hear Enoch's apology. Jake and Emma try to fight Baron, but he's immune to their attacks. Jake releases the Imbrans, angering Baron. Emma and Enoch locate Jake, but Baron tricks them by taking Jake's form. Jake proves himself when he spots the last Hollow behind them. He grabs Baron Jake and, convincing the Hollow of his true identity, plucks out Baron's eyes and defeats him. Enoch tosses Jake the crossbow, which he uses to kill the Hollow. The children depart on the ship to remain in their loop, and Jake realizes it means he won't see them again. Back in Florida, Jake visits Abe's house and finds him still alive. He shares his adventures with Miss Peregrine and the children. Abe gives Jake the Emerson book, which has a lot of money in it, for his travels. Jake runs on the docks to catch up with the children's ship. He finds Emma and tells her about going through different loops in various cities and years. Before he can finish, she stops him with a kiss. Jake joins them on their adventure, and Miss Peregrine, flying by, discovers the children. She flies over to their ship to join them. Make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.